How do you create a completely unique brand in 2024 when it seems like the market is so saturated? How do you craft a piece of the pie specifically for you? How do you create something that when you launch it, you don't find yourself with thousands and thousands of brands as competition and the biggest players out there with the exact same products, with better quality and with better pricing? That's what I'm going to be doing in today's episode. I have my notebook here and I'm going to be running you through my framework, and we're going to be coming up with an idea from scratch. We're going to be coming up with a niche. We're going to be coming up with a customer avatar, a product range, a marketing strategy, so on and so forth. So let's get right into the episode. Number one, you should identify your niche. So a niche is a specific part of an industry. If you were to look at a specific industry like sportswear, the niche of sportswear is technically a niche within the larger and broader fashion space. But within sportswear, which is very broad, you may have significant other sub-niches. You might have gym wear, you might have yoga wear, specific performance gear, swimming wear. All of these things are niches within the larger category of sportswear. Well, let's go one step deeper than that. Let's look at a niche within the niche. You cannot try to sell your products to everyone. It's not a commodity. So in my case, I'm going to start off by saying I want my customer to be approximately between the ages of 25 and 45. The reason for this is typically people are going to be the most active at those ages, and typically towards the other end of the age between 30 and 45, they're going to have more disposable income to be able to spend on my products. 18-year-olds are not going to be able to spend so much money on products that are high quality, that are premium, and that are luxury. We need to specifically look at their pain points. So we identify their pain points by understanding what activity are they performing. For me, I want to go to a niche within a niche within a niche. I want to do equestrian gear, specifically horseback riding gear that is tailored towards professionals and people who are amateurs that are studying the sport, beginners, intermediates, and advanced. So horseback riding gear specifically. In order for me to know their pain points, I can go out and I can speak to people that are into horseback riding. I can look at how they perform their activities, what sort of training regimen do typical horseback riders go into, survey them. I can ask them for the biggest competition that's in the market, that's already serving that market. I can look at what are the drawbacks of some of the competition. So perhaps some of the challenges is that since a lot of the players are old, their designs are a little bit out of touch. We want to target the current generation of specific horseback riders. So some of their pain points may be that the current products are out of touch. Maybe they're not sustainable, right? There's a trend towards sustainability, so they're not sustainable. They're also not super functional. They don't keep up with the current needs of the market. They don't really account for the fact that a lot of us carry our phones, carry our AirPods, carry our keys. So now there are unique opportunities for us to go in there. Number two, now we're going to identify a unique selling proposition. So otherwise what we call as a USP. Now, a lot of riders want to present their own unique style. So maybe we give them personalization options. Maybe we offer our gear in a variety of different patterns, different prints for people to stand out. Maybe you can have a custom embroidery option to put your name in it. We can also look at sustainability. Maybe we could look at bringing in biomaterials. Since a lot of horseback riding pants tend to be very tight, then perhaps because they're so tight, maybe we'll want to offer some sort of bio alternatives to help with people who want to stay away from plastics in their clothing. Not only are you providing a garment that is more biodegradable, you're providing a garment that is typically better for your health, and you're providing a garment that you can feel good about wearing. Number three, now it's time to actually develop your brand identity. Your brand identity is essentially the association a customer makes between your brand and what they feel. So when you think of Coca-Cola, you might think of a refreshing beverage. When you think of Apple, you might think of integrated technology or effortless technology. In terms of storytelling, let's look at our horseback riding brand as an example. Well, perhaps we can craft the story that the reason we developed these products is the founder, he rides horses, who lived and breathed horseback riding. And he noticed through his many years that there was something missing in the market, especially as horseback riding is changing. The brands were not evolving along with it. Then it becomes a part of the professionalism, the association of I am a professional in the space, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm developing products for people who are the highest tier and people that are just getting into it. The second thing might be heritage. Perhaps I come from a long line of people that have made horseback riding equipment, and I'm carrying forward that heritage into this specific product range. So when you're buying into these products, you are now tying into this heritage of years and years past, that experience of years and years past, and you're crafting a story that people can then come and feel comfortable with. Once you have your story, you now have your brand values. What does your brand stand for? So my brand might stand for innovation. It might stand for sustainability, for performance, for community. I can't necessarily be a purely sustainable brand, but also my core focus is on getting the most budget-friendly product, because chances are, in going for sustainability, I'm going to have to invest into fabrics. I'm going to have to invest into labor techniques that will drive up my prices. So perhaps I can be a sustainability brand, but part of my value is also value, not necessarily being the cheapest. So you've identified your values, you've identified the story, but how are those delivered to the customer? Visually, through the logo, through the word mark, through the name, through the color scheme, through how the brand is portrayed. If you look at some of the top tier luxury brands, a lot of their logos, they exude this timeless classicness, which gives you the sense that they have been here for a long time and they will be here for very, very long after that, because they're so timeless and classic that they cannot go out of style. Even their colors, they portray that idea of heritage, of luxury. They have this old money look and feel to them, and this is intentional. Versus a lot of new brands that maybe they cater towards a younger generation. They're here in the moment. Number 4, now it's time to actually conceptualize your product range and actually create it. When it comes to a product range, for an equestrian brand, I will look at the essentials. Perhaps I need a pair of horseback riding pants. Maybe I need a top as well to go along with it. I need gloves. I need a helmet. Depending on my budget, I may need to focus my efforts because developing a helmet may be very expensive. Maybe that's not the best way to start. Maybe I want to be the most well-known for horseback riding pants, and basically the gear that is worn, you'll create the prototype in order to adjust the fabrics, adjust the details, the fitting, the sizing before you proceed into your bulk production. Making sure that your design is delivered correctly in your prototype and that you even get some feedback from the types of customers that you want to target is going to be essential. Number 5, it's time to develop a marketing strategy. Because if up until now you developed a brand identity that is unique, a concept that is unique, but there's no way for you to let people know about what makes it unique and why it stands out. This is where marketing comes in. Marketing is the process of making known that you have products or services available to sell. When it comes to marketing, you need to develop or identify your brand position. Where do you slot in the market amongst your competition? Are you a premium, high-end, super exclusive brand? Do you only cater towards a very small percentage of the population and you're fine if you end up missing out on the remainder? If you look at many high-end luxury hypercar brands like Bugatti, for example, Bugatti is not interested in selling the masses, even though they could potentially create a car that could drive their sales. Maybe they could sell more cars. The idea with Bugatti is that they develop the very best hypercar that there is, they create it in limited quantities, and they only serve a specific portion of the population, and that ends up playing back into their brand positioning. Or are you trying to position your brand as more of a value-based brand? Or are you a budget-friendly option? Next, you'll need to create content. Content can either be through paid ads or it can be through organic marketing. When it comes to these strategies, the number one thing that you should know should be, does my content sound like my brand? The words that I use, the values that I communicate, the type of content that I create. So for my horseback riding brand, since I'm focused on performance and I want to be a value-based brand, perhaps I might go and interview many different horseback riders. Maybe I go give a behind the scenes at my workshop and I show how my products are designed. Lastly, in this case, is how you collaborate with different influencers, with different people that can potentially represent your brand. In this day and age, we are consistently glued to the lives of other people. In my case, maybe I get one extremely high profile person, depending on my budget, to solidify myself as trusted by the best of the best. And then I look at different athletes in the space that maybe they're growing, they have a continuous improvement in terms of their social status, but I catch them early in the process and I document the journey with them. If you look at Apple, for example, Apple will have stores that are huge, whereas they may not need to, and stores that they pay millions and millions of dollars to upkeep every single year. And the idea there is that when you walk into an Apple store and you're met and introduced to the products by the sales staff, they're so knowledgeable, they're so warm and authentic. If the crowd has picked it and you can see everyone engaging and touching and purchasing these products, then you're much more likely to connect and to choose to make a purchase on this product. Number 6 is you're going to test and then you're going to launch. So the testing phase is what is known as a soft launch. The soft launch is there to figure out the kinks in your armor before you unleash your brand on the masses. Perhaps you only announce the launch through specific channels so that you're not actually bringing so many people onto the website. Perhaps you only open up specific types of products for the launch. Once you've fully launched, now you want to do something that a lot of brands don't do. Look at how your customers have engaged with your products. What specific products have performed better than expected, have performed worse than expected, have performed as expected? Why did they underperform? Was it an issue of the product itself? Was the quality not good? Get customer feedback through reviews, through one-on-ones. Now that you have the definitive, unique brand, it's time to scale and to expand. Scaling essentially means doing more of what works and reiterating and improving on what doesn't work. And expanding means looking at the product lines that have achieved success and finding complementary product ranges. So for me, maybe my pants and my top have worked perfectly. Perhaps now I need to offer pants in different cuts, different lengths, different styles. And then once I've saturated that market, maybe I can look at accessories, I can look at gloves, I can look at a helmet. Well guys, that is it. That is a wrap on this episode. It's been my definitive guide on how to create and to craft a unique brand from scratch. Let me know if you guys are trying to come up with your own unique brand. What's the unique angle you're trying to take? If you want to get on a call with me perhaps to discuss how you can turn your brand to make it more unique, so that the money that you're going to invest, the time that you're going to put in is actually going to go way further. How can we take your concept and make it more unique? Well, you can check the link in the description. I offer one-on-one consultation calls every single week. Slots are limited, unfortunately. And guys, I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.